All right, let's talk about AI. Artificial intelligence. I mean, you hear that term everywhere, right? But what does it actually mean? Is it this amazing tool that's going to change the world for the better? Or is it something we should be a little worried about? Well, let's cut through all that noise and figure it out.
Okay, so let me start with a super simple question. Have you ever asked Siri or Alexa to play your favorite song? Or maybe, set a timer for your pizza, or just check the weather before you head out? If you said yes to any of that, then hey, congratulations. You've been interacting with artificial intelligence. Seriously, it's that simple. See, this isn't some futuristic sci-fi idea. It is already completely woven into the fabric of our daily lives.
Yeah, AI is already here. It's not some concept we're waiting for. It is working right now, in the background, doing everything from just being helpful to things that are, well, truly mind-blowing.
So right now, most of the AI you're going to run into is all about automation. When you call a company and that automated voice picks up, that's AI doing voice recognition. But it goes way beyond that. We're talking about robotics doing jobs that are just way too dangerous for people, like mixing hazardous chemicals. Or, and this one still gets me, actually piloting the Mars rovers from millions of miles away. That's AI at work.
Okay, so we've seen what it does. But what is it really, like at its core? Let's break down the main ingredients.
So when you boil it all down, AI is basically a mix of three things. You've got computer science, which is the brains of the operation. Then you have huge sets of data, massive amounts. And finally, you have a problem you want it to solve. That's it. You're basically training a machine to see patterns in all that data, so it can start making its own predictions or decisions.
Now here's something you gotta know. Not all AI is the same. It's not one big monolith. It's actually broken down into 3 different types. And understanding these really helps you see where we are today and where all this could be going.
First, we have what's called ANI, or Artificial Narrow Intelligence. And this is the big one to remember, because it's the only kind of AI that we actually have right now. All those things we talked about, Siri, the customer service bots, even the Mars rover, that's all ANI. And they call it narrow for a reason. It's designed to be amazing at one single specific task, and that's it.
Okay, so the next level up the ladder is AGI, Artificial General Intelligence. Now, this is what a lot of people in the field are shooting for. This is a future AI that could think kind of like us. It could plan, make complex decisions, and learn things in a bunch of different areas, not just one little narrow task. A lot of folks think this is where we're headed, but we are definitely not there yet.
And then there's the third type. This one is pure theory, totally science fiction for now. It's called ASI, or Artificial Superintelligence. And this is where your mind just kind of explodes. Because we're talking about an AI that isn't just as smart as a human, but one that would be smarter than us in like every single way. It's a huge concept.
Yeah, the source material we're looking at puts it so simply. It says, the intelligence of computers would exceed the intelligence of humans, which would be pretty wild. And you know what? That's probably the biggest understatement you could make. Wild doesn't even begin to cover it.
So this all brings us to the big debate, right? The core argument about AI. When you have something this powerful, of course there are going to be some amazing potential upsides, but there are also some really serious downsides we have to think about. So let's weigh the good versus the bad.
So if you were to make like a pros and cons list for AI, it would be pretty long on both sides. On the pro side, the benefits are obvious, right? It saves us a ton of time by automating boring, repetitive stuff. It keeps people safe by doing dangerous jobs. It can even reduce human error in really important areas like medicine. But then you look at the con side and yikes, it's just as serious. We're talking about how it's incredibly expensive, the very real possibility of job losses, a huge environmental cost that most people don't even think about, and all these new problems with plagiarism, art theft, and major security risks. It's a really tough balancing act.
Yeah, that is a lot to take in. And look, the upsides are amazing, no doubt. But some of those downsides are so big, so significant, that we really need to zoom in on them to get what's truly at stake here. First up, let's just talk about the money. When we say this stuff is expensive, we're not talking about a little bit of startup cash. We are talking about billions. Billions with a B. In just the infrastructure, the research, the energy to run it all, it's a staggering amount of money. And speaking of energy, that brings us to the next big problem, the environmental cost. This is a huge one. All those massive server farms that you need to power AI, they take up a ton of land, sure, but the real issue is that they are just sucking down incredible amounts of electricity and water from the grid. It's a massive drain on resources.
And it doesn't stop there.
Beyond the money and the environment, you've got the very real threat of job loss for regular people, not just those in dangerous jobs. Then you have this whole new can of worms with AI being used to copy artists' and writers' work without permission. And of course, there's always the big one, security. The risk of hackers getting a hold of this tech and using it for, well, you can imagine.
So, wow. After looking at all of that, the good and the bad, where does that leave us? Well, the truth is, the future here is still being written. But one thing is absolutely for sure. For better or for worse, AI is here, and it's not going anywhere.
And that's really the most important takeaway here. It doesn't really matter if you're an optimist or a pessimist about AI. What's crucial is that we all, every one of us, takes the time to actually understand what it is and to really think about the potential consequences. I mean, this technology is going to shape our world. Being informed isn't just a good idea. It's the first and most important step.
So, in the end, it all comes down to that one big question. After looking at the amazing possibilities on one side and the really serious dangers on the other, where do you stand? Do you think the positives of AI ultimately outweigh all those negatives? It's a huge question, and honestly, the debate is just getting started.